Obsession beats motivation. Motivation is a feeling, it shows up when it wants to and leaves without warning. Obsession is different. Obsession doesn't ask permission, doesn't check the weather, doesn't care if you're tired. Winners aren't people who feel like it every day. They are people who built a relationship with their goal so deep that missing a day of work toward it feels physically wrong to them. When you are obsessed, you don't need a pep talk to get up at 5 a.m. You need a reason to stay in bed, and you can't find one. Motivation fades by 10 a.m. Obsession is still running at midnight. The difference between someone who dreams and someone who dominates is that the dreamer waits to feel inspired, while the obsessed person moves whether inspiration shows up or not. This is why so many talented people never make it. They were relying on a feeling instead of building a fire. Winners understand that if their desire for success isn't stronger than their desire for comfort, sleep, approval, or entertainment, they will always choose the easier option. So they starve every competing desire and feed one desire until it becomes bigger than fear, bigger than doubt, bigger than the opinions of people who never even tried. That obsession is not madness, it's the engine. Pain is not the enemy, it's the curriculum. Every person chasing something great will meet pain. The loser sees pain and thinks something has gone wrong. The winner sees pain and thinks, good, this is where I get stronger. Pain is not a punishment for trying, it's tuition. Nobody builds real strength, real skill, real character in comfort. Comfort teaches you nothing except how to stay the same. It's the 4 a.m. Workouts nobody claps for, the rejected applications, the humiliating failures, the nights spent alone working while everyone else is sleeping. That is where the winner's mindset is actually forged. When pain shows up, most people retreat because they were taught pain means stop. But winners are taught differently. Pain means keep going, because whatever is on the other side of this pain is exactly what your future self needs. So instead of avoiding hard moments, winners walk toward them on purpose. They ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Instead of asking, how do I make this pain stop? That single shift in perspective changes everything, because now every hard day becomes a deposit into a future you can't yet see, but one you're absolutely building, one uncomfortable rep at a time. Excuses are just well-dressed fear. Every excuse ever spoken sounds reasonable in the moment. I don't have time. I wasn't given the same opportunities. The odds are against me. These excuses are not lies. Exactly, they are often technically true. But winners understand a brutal truth. An excuse being true doesn't make it useful. You can be right and still be broke. You can be right and still be stuck. You can have every valid reason in the world to quit and still lose everything by using it. So the winner's mindset isn't about pretending life is fair. It's about refusing to let an unfair situation become a permanent identity. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The winner asks, what can I still do despite this? That question alone separates people who stay stuck for years from people who turn their worst circumstances into their greatest comeback stories. Excuses feel good in the moment because they protect your ego. If you never fully try, you never fully fail. But that protection is a trap, because a life spent protecting your ego is a life spent avoiding your potential. Winners let go of the comfort of excuses because they want the discomfort of growth more than they want to be right about why they can't. Discipline is love you haven't recognized yet. People misunderstand discipline. They think it's punishment, restriction, drill sergeant energy. But real discipline is one of the purest forms of self-respect there is. When you choose the harder right thing over the easier wrong thing, you are telling your future self, I've got you. Discipline is waking up when your body wants to stay down because you already decided in advance who you're becoming. Motivation negotiates with you every single day. Discipline doesn't negotiate at all. It's already been decided. Winners don't wake up asking, should I train today? Should I study today? Should I show up today? That question was already answered weeks ago when they made the decision. All discipline does now is execute what was already promised. This is why winners appear unstoppable to outsiders. It's not that they never feel lazy or scared or unmotivated. They feel all of that. The difference is they don't let a feeling override a decision. Discipline is what happens when your commitment becomes bigger than your mood. It's not glamorous. Nobody films the 15th rep when your arms are shaking or the 10th rewrite when your eyes are burning. But that invisible discipline is exactly what separates the people who talk about greatness from the people who actually build it. Vision requires sacrifice, not just desire. Everybody wants something. Wanting is cheap. Everybody's got a wish list. But vision is different from wanting because vision comes with a price tag, and winners are the only ones willing to pay it. You want the body, are you willing to give up the food? You want the business, are you willing to give up the free time? You want the degree, the title, the freedom, are you willing to give up the sleep, the parties, the comfort of mediocrity? Most people want the result, but reject the sacrifice required to get it, and then they wonder why the result never comes. Winners flip that entire equation. They fall in love with the sacrifice because they understand. The sacrifice is the price of admission to the life they say they want. Vision without sacrifice is just fantasy, a nice story you tell yourself at night. But vision with sacrifice becomes a plan, a discipline, a daily decision that eventually turns into undeniable results. So the real question was never, what do you want? Everybody can answer that. The real question is, what are you willing to give up to get it? That question determines who's still dreaming 5 years from now and who's already living it. Winning is a decision made daily, not a trophy won once. The biggest myth about winners is that winning is a destination, a moment, a trophy, a finish line. You cross and then you're done. But that's not how it actually works. Winning is not an event. Winning is a decision you make over and over, quietly, on days nobody's watching and nobody's clapping. It's deciding to get up on the day you don't feel like a winner. It's deciding to keep your word to yourself, even when breaking it would be easier and nobody would ever know. Champions aren't people who win once and coast. They're people who rebuild the decision to win every single morning, regardless of yesterday's results. That's why some people win once and disappear while others stay at the top for years. The ones who stay understand that yesterday's victory doesn't pay today's bill. You have to re-earn it every day with the same hunger you had when you had nothing. This mindset means there is no arrival. There's no day you finally made it and get to stop building. Winners embrace that instead of fearing it, because a life of continuous becoming is far more exciting than a life of finished achievement. The decision to win today is the only decision that has ever actually mattered. How the mindset of winners gets explained. What if I told you that the difference between the person who's still stuck exactly where they were last year and the person who completely transformed their life isn't talent? What if it's not luck, it's not connections, it's not even opportunity? What if the only difference is what's happening between their two ears at 5 a.m. when nobody's watching? See, everybody wants to win. Everybody's got a dream, a vision board, a goal typed up in their notes app. But wanting something and being wired for it are two completely different things. Winners are not people who feel motivated every single day. Let me kill that myth right now. Winners feel tired too. Winners feel scared too. Winners have days they don't want to get out the bed either. The difference is they made a decision so far back that their body just moves without asking their feelings for permission. You ever notice how pain shows up in everybody's life? It's not optional. Everybody's going to get knocked down. That's not the test. The test is what you tell yourself while you're on the ground. The loser says, this is proof I shouldn't be doing this. The winner says, this pain is tuition and I already paid for the lesson, so I better learn it. Same pain, two different stories. And whichever story you believe becomes your life. I need you to understand something. Your excuses might be true. I'm not saying you're lying. Life might really have been unfair to you, but being right about why you can't will never pay your bills, will never build your dream, will never make you proud of the person in the mirror. You can be right and still be stuck. So stop asking why me and start asking what now. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the most sincere form of self-love there is, because discipline is you keeping a promise to your future self even when your current self doesn't feel like it. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline moved in and never left. And here's what nobody tells you about vision. Vision has a price. You want the body, you got to give up the food. You want the freedom, you got to give up the comfort. Everybody wants the result. Champions are the only ones who fall in love with the sacrifice. So understand this. Winning is not a trophy you win once and put on a shelf. Winning is a decision you got to make again tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, whether anybody's clapping or not. So what if the winner you've been waiting to become is not somewhere out in the future, waiting on the right circumstances, the right timing, the right permission? What if that winner is available to you right now in this exact moment through the next decision you make? Every single thing covered here, the obsession, the pain, the refusal of excuses, the discipline, the sacrifice, the daily decision, none of it requires luck. It only requires that you choose it today. Not when you feel ready, not when life gets easier. Now, because the mindset of a winner was never a secret reserved for a special few, it was always a decision sitting right in front of every single person waiting to be picked up. What if everything you think is holding you back is actually the exact thing preparing you? What if the late nights, the rejections, the people who doubted you, the days you wanted to quit, what if none of that was against you? What if it was for you? Right now, somewhere, there's a version of you that already made it, already hit the goal, already built the dream, already became undeniable. And that version of you is not waiting on luck. That version of you is not waiting on the perfect moment. That version of you is waiting on one thing, the decision you're about to make in the next 60 seconds. See, winners are not born in comfort. Winners are born in the exact moment they decide their excuses no longer get to speak for them. So what if today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not when things calm down, what if today is the day you stop waiting for motivation and start moving on decision? Because the mindset of a winner isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one uncomfortable choice at a time. And the only question left is, what if you started right now?